And the Monona Police Department is investigating an armed robbery at a cannabis shop that happened around 9:30 Friday night. So far, the investigation revealed that two men walked into Zoddies Monona and took cash along with products and personal property. One of them was holding an AK-47 style pistol, while the other was holding a handgun. They were described as black men who were wearing dark clothing and masks that covered their faces. After the robbery, they ran out of a back door. Anyone with information about this is asked to call the Monona Police Department at that number you see there on your screen.